Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Well, we had some rain, like I said, this week that washed a lot of the snow away, and then last night, or no, the night before last, we got a blizzard there of about 1.5 inches of snow, and with the wind on top of it, it made a hell of a mess out there. And jeez, so today it's windy again, and the snow isn't really melting because the air is too cold still, but you know, it's like the top layer of the snow was like solid ice. So if you're walking around out there in the snow, you got to stomp really hard into the ground in order to break through the ice so you don't slip and fall. But yeah, I mean, that's what's going on, and it's like cloudy out today, and it's still kind of windy. So I was like, you know, shit, just when it started to look like, you know, spring wasn't coming, then all of a sudden a little more snow. But anyway, I have a couple of videos here to play for you. The first one is from the Humanist Report, and they'll be talking about this lady, this really nasty woman here, who ate at a Mexican restaurant and decided to write on her receipt something pretty bigoted and racist, and then left. Unfortunately, she couldn't just disappear into the moonlight thanks to the restaurant cameras and some skillful people who know how to track down individuals online. They got this person, this lady. They got her picture. They've been circulating it around the internet. It's gone viral. And now she kind of shut down her TikTok account after she tried to lie and say that somebody hacked her credit card information and all this stuff. Okay, and that when people weren't buying that, she just simply shut down her fucking account. Anyway, it's funny. So let's go to that there, and then we'll discuss it on the other side.
Suela's Mexican Cantina on East Broad Street tell me they love their job and they love serving people. They say Sunday afternoon they were doing just that.
Apparently this lady came in, and Ricardo, who is a great person, was taking care of her. He only worked here 1 day a week, which is Sunday. He has 2 jobs.
After the woman and her family left, they found this on the table, a receipt. But instead of the tip, the woman wrote this hateful message.
It's just not right.
So that happened on March 2nd, and as you can see here, the woman tipped $0 on an $88 bill and wrote, "You suck, I hope Trump deports you," at the bottom of the receipt to a server who works multiple jobs. Now, aside from the obvious racism here, I also want to take the time to point out this Karen's entitlement, because in the state of Ohio, servers make a sub-minimum wage, meaning that they mostly subsist off tips. So she not only wished for his life to be destroyed by our fascist president, but she also took food off of the table for his family. Just despicable human being. Now, what's especially gross is how these white trash racists think that they have power over minority communities, the way that they wield ICE or police against them like fucking swords, as if black and brown people should bow down to them and kiss their asses, because if you inconvenience them in the slightest, then they have the power to destroy your life or even get you killed with a quick phone call. I mean, let's recall what Central Park Karen said in that viral video.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Meaning, your life is in my hands, and I know which words to say to get them to gun you down for me. And these same types of people are now using ICE in a similar manner. You cannot hate these people enough. They are despicable, morally reprehensible cretins. But none of this is surprising because this is the cultural effect that Donald Trump has on the country. Racists feel emboldened because of him. And since he's able to get away with saying racist things, they think that they can too. But guess what? It doesn't work that way. In fact, the lady who left that message to the server learned this the hard way because one of Ricardo's coworkers posted a picture of that receipt online and it blew up almost immediately. And it didn't take very long for internet sleuths to find her Facebook and start tagging her in the image. And here's what happened next. Newsweek reports Stephanie Lovins, the lady who left that message on the receipt, initially denied any involvement, claiming on social media that her credit card had been lost or stolen and that someone else had used it. My credit card was lost and stolen, and someone attempted to use it. Thanks for the notification. She's so fucking full of shit. This has been reported through my bank, she wrote on Facebook. Thank you for all the recent notifications of scammers and profile hackers. Oh, I was hacked. We've never heard that before. I recently discovered a lost missing credit card and an attempted use/purchase. I appreciate your patience while I manage the situation, she wrote on a post on LinkedIn. This woman's social media account has since been deleted. Oh, I wonder why. However, this was discovered to be a false statement after the restaurant reviewed CCTV footage and confirmed that she was inside the restaurant, leading to her termination at the real estate company that she worked for. Now, a spokesperson for Century 21, her employer, addressed the incident, stating that hate has no place within the brand and that the situation is being taken seriously. In other words, she fucked around and she found out real quick. Turns out that you can't be openly racist towards people without consequence. Just because Trump is able to get away with it doesn't mean that you can too. And listen, if it wasn't already obvious, I have no sympathy for this Karen because she wished for this server's life to be destroyed. That's what would happen if he were undocumented and deported. He would lose everything. But guess what? She ended up destroying her own life instead. That, my friends, is what I'd like to call poetic justice. Now, in the off chance somebody stumbles across this video and thinks that I'm being too harsh, I can assure you that, one, I'm not being harsh enough, and two, she's probably the type of person who would never extend that same sympathy to the people that she doesn't like. And to show you what I mean, I want to play for you a video of a TikToker crying after his mom was deported. Now, this video went viral, so we're going to watch it, and then I want to show you the comments that this individual received.
My mom just got deported. My mom just got deported. It's so not fair. It's so not fair. She's literally not a criminal. Like, she's literally just paid her taxes. She's literally just... We're not safe. No one's safe. Please. Hug your loved ones, please.
Now, when normal people see this kind of pain and suffering, they feel empathy. They feel sad because this is unnecessary suffering. It doesn't have to be this way. His mom does not deserve to be deported. He doesn't deserve to lose his mother. This feeling that we feel when we see that, it's called being a human. However, when conservatives see this kind of thing, when they see the effect that the policies they support have on their victims, they don't feel a shred of sympathy. Instead, they do a victory lap. Here's some of the comments to that video. A Guatemalan influencer breaks down in tears after his mother was deported by Tom Homan. So good. Those tears have absolutely zero emotional impact on me. In fact, my eyes rolled so hard, I'm surprised they didn't get stuck that way. I voted for this. Why didn't he go with her? What a douche. He should be deported himself just for being so whiny and pathetic. Send the anchor baby back also. Damn, this crying man has convinced me we need to do away with borders, laws, and rules. They need to go back and get him. Deport him too for being a These are the kind of people that we're talking about here. Sick, sadistic fucks who relish in the pain and suffering of others. They get off on it. It fuels them. So if one of these kinds of people, like this lady, are stupid enough to say something like this without the anonymity afforded to them by the internet and it catches up with them, spare them your fucking sympathy. Save your sympathy for their victims. So, needless to say, as you can tell, I don't feel bad for this racist Karen. In fact, I hope that she stubs her toe too. But I will say that what does give me a little bit of hope is the overwhelming response from the community to this Karen's racism.
I think it's despicable. You know, that's not who America is. You know, we're all immigrants.
Ron Sitters from Granville has never been to the cantina, but came to show support.
The food was wonderful. Everything was, the people were courteous. Everything was wonderful. So I was in shock when I saw that story, because I literally had just come back from Mexico the day before, and kind of broke my heart.
We never expected that to go that viral or having that reactions. Thankfully, all the community has been really supportive.
The employees say people are already planning to come in next Sunday when Ricardo works and make the day special for him.
This is a space for being inclusive, and there's no space for hate inside Cazuelas.
The employees say they hope some good will come out of sharing this story.
And that right there makes me think, maybe not all hope is lost. You know, to see communities come together and stand up for each other makes me feel like maybe we might still be able to salvage this country one day. Probably not, but maybe there's a small chance. But one of the reasons why things feel so bleak right now is because it's not just the evil fascistic policies that are so bad. It's the culture that's being fostered by Donald Trump and the Republican Party too. That also has a profound impact on so many people, socially, psychologically. But fortunately, we're not the only ones paying a price for Donald Trump's ascendance, because the people who voted for him also, who thought that their privilege would protect them, are also getting fucked over by this administration. And truly, no one is spared, and they're learning that the hard way right now. And I'm sad to admit that seeing them get fucked over by the person who they voted for gives me a little bit of schadenfreude. Case in point, I want to hear from a 3-time Trump voter who also is a federal employee that worked for the IRS, who was just terminated by DOJ. Here's what he has to say about voting for somebody that ended his job.
Did you anticipate that this might happen or regret your vote at all?
No, I don't necessarily regret my vote. I think the options that we had on both sides were, I think we could have had better choices on both sides. But for me, with what's going on here, my performance reviews all meets or exceeds. My bosses were very happy with me finding work to do, even if they didn't have something for me immediately. And with my particular job, between education, training, and compliance checks, we were able to recover far more revenue than the cost of keeping me employed.
So when you think about the premise of DOJ and that it's trying to root out fraud and wasteful spending, do you think that this approach will get to that with your particular job or your agency?
Well, I think with all large agencies, there's going to be some people who underperform, and I believe there is some fraud, waste, and abuse. But I don't think that they're doing a very good job of finding out exactly what needs to be cut. I think they're just taking like the chainsaw to it instead of doing some critical thinking and doing some investigations to see exactly what is good and what is bad. Just letting it all go instead.
Will this impact how you vote in the midterms?
We'll have to see what's going on. Yeah, it's going to impact how I vote in the midterms, yes.
In what way?
Well, I'm going to see exactly who's going to try to help fight for the workers, for veterans. I want the best for this country, no matter who's in charge.
Hey, idiot, she is gently trying to get you to understand how you cut off your own nose to spite your own fucking face. See, you voted for a party that's talked about abolishing the IRS for years now, but you probably thought that your job would be spared because you're not one of them DEI hires, right? But I hate to break it to you, bud, but DEI includes you too. This man is a veteran, and as the Washington Post reports, Trump's executive orders on DEI may affect veterans as well, since the OPM didn't specify whether or not their preferred status has also been eliminated. Quote, none of these OPM memos explicitly exempts preference-hired veterans or military spouses when discussing DEI programs and protected characteristics. So presumably, all employees and officials of federal DEI offices, veterans and military spouses included, are prohibited under Trump's order from doing that work, whether they are placed on leave, resigned, or terminated. Oops. So for those unaware, DEI programs are also put in place to help veterans and their spouses, since they too face barriers to employment and institutional bias. But you probably thought that DEI just applied to black and brown people, and you had to find out the hard way that you might actually be a DEI hire yourself. I mean, you can't make this shit up. It's like a fucking parody. But it's also frustrating because we have to come to terms with the fact that there is a large portion of the American population who would happily vote against their own self-interest so long as marginalized people get fucked over more. And even though marginalized people will undoubtedly bear the brunt of the pain and suffering, I don't want to hear from people like this. I don't want to hear you complain about how you were fucked over too if this is what the fuck you voted for. I didn't agree to this. You did. So shut the fuck up and stop crying, pussy. I mean, this man is twice my age, and he's too stupid to understand that actions have consequences. It's probably too late to teach that to him, but I mean, it's a fucking miracle that he made it this far in life if you don't understand how voting for a party that has been wanting to abolish the IRS for decades might fuck you over. It's astonishing to me. But I mean, this guy is not the only Trump supporter that this happened to. On the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit, user Free Chicken Dinner shared a screenshot of a Trump voter finding out in real time that Trump's war on the administrative state affects him too. So on February 15th, he didn't believe that Trump and Musk couldn't figure out how to rehire nuclear officials who they accidentally fired. But the following week, he got a taste of what those nuclear officials were dealing with firsthand, writing in a post to Elon Musk on Twitter, "I voted for Trump. I am a government employee working 29 years for the DOD. The disrespect has come over the years from both sides. This time, it is out of control. We are political punching bags, and we are not the deep state. We have been wrongly treated like crap." Now, the next day, he responded to Donald Trump directly on Twitter, writing, "I voted for you 3 times. Why are you allowing Elon Musk to abuse federal workers? Doge doesn't need to fire 200,000. They just need to fire 1. We are not the deep state. We protect this country with technology. If you continue down this path, this country will have no future." Amazing, isn't it? Now, fortunately for this person, it doesn't seem like they've lost their job yet, but they do still take issue with how all probationary workers are being let go without cause, and it feels like a 29-year civil servant such as themselves is owed much more respect than they're getting. But I mean, this is why people like myself tried to sound the alarm about Project 2025, because it clearly detailed the right's plan to dismantle the entire administrative state. So as a federal employee, I don't understand why you would vote for that agenda unless you're completely ignorant or you hope that you wouldn't be affected yourself. Also, side note, Project 2025 is already 38% complete, so it's on track to be fully implemented before their 180-day timeline. But in conclusion, the lesson for today's video is that actions have consequences. If you vote for a racist or expose your racism to the rest of us, it very well may come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, you know, how some people feel like it's like they haven't registered yet in their mind that this world that we live in today, there's no place private. Like I had watched this video here because there was nothing else on TV to watch, but this guy was driving this big white pickup. And he wasn't like in a city, he was like on the outskirts of it where you wouldn't think there'd be cameras. And he was trying to get around this black car, and he was in the passing lane when there wasn't a passing lane, because it's solid lines, right? When it's a solid line, you can't pass. But he tried to get around the car. The car was speeding up to keep him from getting in front of him. So what's he do? He clips the front bumper of the car without, he says he didn't feel it, but I think that's bullshit. He clipped that car, and the car veers off into the grass, okay, and avoids hitting a tree, and the truck, he keeps going. Well, all of that was caught on camera from various poles that were out there around the area, which, you know, wouldn't think, like I said, that there would be cameras. It's like having cameras out in a fucking farm field or something, you know, but they were there. And not only that, but they had satellite imagery, which they were able to access, of, you know, an aerial looking down. They actually could see the 2 vehicles, and they saw what he did. Well, guy gets a knock on the door from the cops, obviously, and because they tracked down the truck, and he tried to remove the bumper off of his vehicle because it had a dent and a scratch, right, from the other car, and he tried to take and hide that. Well, they saw the bumper was missing, okay, and he tried to make up a story by why it wasn't there, and eventually he relinquished and decided, okay, this is where the bumper is, and that, you know, he finally fessed up a little bit, but he was trying to say it wasn't his fault because he was trying to pass and they wouldn't let him. All right. And, but the guy says, well, because that car went off the road and almost got into a tree, hit a tree rather, that's fleeing a scene of an accident, and you should have stopped. And, you know, but he didn't. He just kept going. And so, you know, they had him on that. Plus, he tried to tamper with evidence, which they had him on that. And they said they needed to take his truck, because it's evidence, right? Need to take his truck for about a week so the whoever the people can look at the vehicle and the bumper and all that and figure out what happened. Well, he's sitting there having a fit because, oh, it's my only way of getting around. I got a job. I'm going bankrupt and yada, yada, yada. Okay, and he's making all these excuses and everything. So, anyway, yeah, he gets a heavy fine. Had to spend 90 days in jail, I think it was the other part of it. And I don't, you know, they didn't say anything further about it. But, you know, you can't do stuff today and think, oh, they're not going to see. They can see. And you have to keep in your mind, just think in your mind that no matter where I go, a camera's watching me. Because it's true, really, in a way. I mean, if it isn't cameras that are put out by the city, it's people with their cell phones. And they're always going to be recording something out of the ordinary, okay? So, like I said, it doesn't pay to try to get away with stuff like that. So anyway, this girl writes that nasty message on that receipt, and, you know, bang. You know, all of a sudden it goes viral online, you know. So I imagine to her anger, you know, she probably found out the hard way that, oh, by Jesus, I didn't think anyone could find that. Well, now you learn the hard way. But I've always known for years. I mean, you know, ever since they started putting cameras on cell phones, I was like, whoa, you know, Christ, people can record you and you wouldn't even know it, you know. It was right then I realized that our privacy has just got a huge blow, because people aren't going to care about your privacy if they're recording things. I mean, I know some people have had a fit, like you'd be recording something that isn't a person, but people are walking by or something and they see you recording and they're going, hey, delete that off the, you know, they get pissed. It's like, we're in public. You know, how the hell am I supposed to keep from, you know, people from not getting in, you know, what am I supposed to put, roadblocks or something, so that way I can record only one thing? That's ridiculous. It's you know, you can't do it, okay? But some people get really pissed off when they see somebody with a camera and they walk in front and then they get mad and say, well, you shouldn't have been recording. Well, that's been a problem ever since the first camcorder came out, right? But it's nothing you could do. You just got to expect that there's going to be people recording something. Somewhere, a camera's going to be in your face, you know? Or if they're not recording you, you might be walking by somebody who's recording something else, and you just walked right into the camera. you know, happens all the time, you know? But it's just, this is the world we live in now. And not that really this thing is really about that. It's about people being assholes, you know, and taking their anger out at individuals who don't deserve it. Why do people today feel like they can, you know, open their yap and or just write little notes that are nasty? I mean, where the hell does that come from anyway? I mean, that's what little kids do, for Christ's sake, when they don't know any better, or teenagers when they don't give a shit about something. But as an adult, you have to set the standard. You cannot be allowed to act like that as an adult. And that's why the punishments are more severe. Okay? Because you are expected to, you know, be of a more sound mind and have better judgment about things. And if you got something nasty to say, keep it to yourself. You know? Because other, you know, adults have avenues to explore to hold you accountable for it. And if you don't want to, you know, do the time, then don't do the crime, you know, as they say. But a lot of people just don't seem to get that idea or that reality. You think that, oh, well, I don't care. I can do what I fucking want. It's freedom of speech and all this and that. Totally twisting the whole meaning behind that, okay? But it's not, okay? You know, it's a fucking, it's a race crime, all right? And it's not allowed. I mean, you can get arrested for that. You know, I wish, you know, more people would fucking back off. But I think in today's political climate where you got a president who doesn't really care, you know, about uttering profanities or about uttering bigoted things, people feel like, well, if he can say that and get away with it, then I can too. You're wrong. Okay, you're not a president. You're not nobody. You're just a fucking average asshole out on the street. So guess what? The law applies to you. If you think the president's going to get arrested for what he's been saying, okay, that ain't going to happen ever. Okay, but if you go around and doing what he's doing, you're going to get in trouble for it. So you can piss and moan and cry about that all you want, but that's just a fact of life. All right, unless you can afford 10,000 lawyers there to cover your ass, you're going to have to do the time for it. So these people here that have been going around with their swastika flags and you know, nasty shit written on it, okay, I'm sorry, but you're not Donald Trump and you're not going to get away with it, okay? You do that kind of crap and you're going to get visited by a bunch of cops. So anyway, let's go to a commercial break and we'll come back and watch the other video. So see you in a bit.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Did you know that baking soda and ice cold water is the crucial secret to reach firmness? Just go to the kitchen and do this before going to bed.
I never stopped to think about that.
Exactly. It's simple if you think about it. There's no miracle. The only thing that makes a man firm is increasing blood flow to that area.
That's what the famous blue pills do, right?
Yes, but they do it by dilating the veins. That's why they don't solve the problem permanently. There's only one way to permanently fix this problem without relying on pills, prescriptions, pumps, or exercises, and that's by clearing out the veins that are clogged with plaques. That's why the Indian doctor is getting so popular in the media. He discovered an Indian bull trick that can clear out more than 93% of the plaques. This brings 20 times more blood flow to the area for men. That's why this trick is so effective. A top research team at Johns Hopkins University investigated and confirmed that this trick works for any man, regardless of age. There are already over 62,000 men in America alone who have permanently reversed the problem.
When I saw that I could get firm again without taking any pills, I couldn't believe it. It had been years since I was able to perform.
For over 6 years, I couldn't stay firm. My marriage was terrible, and my wife left me, and we got divorced. That's when I found the Indian bull trick recipe, and I still can't believe I'm firmer than when I was 18. Now I'm dating a woman 20 years younger than me, and she's very satisfied with my performance.
That's incredible.
I told you it's something innovative, and it's been proven to work for any man. I'll leave the link to the free class here for anyone who wants to see it. So, click the button below and watch the free video with the full recipe.
But why isn't anyone talking about this in the media?
This trick was recently discovered, and since it was found, blue pill sales have dropped by over 60% in India. The industry is very worried that this natural trick will become popular in America. That's why they're doing everything they can to keep it from being publicized. This free class has already been taken down twice, and it's close to being taken down for the third time. And this time, it looks like it will be permanent. So this could be the last chance for those who need to see this information. Click the button below and watch the free class with the complete step-by-step guide.
I unfortunately have some devastating news to report. It seems like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert have both been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Now, even though they or their teams haven't come out to confirm this, I'm pretty sure that's what both of them have based on two things. Like the fact that studies have shown viruses like herpes may be associated with an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's, and their most recent tweets. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, poor little Jake is part of the 23% that refuses to cheer for a 13-year-old boy with cancer and a young man accepted into West Point. Shut up, Jake. But you seem to have forgotten that you chased down and harassed a school shooting survivor. You followed him into the U.S. Capitol and were heard making false and baseless claims as you asked him a series of questions relating to gun rights and how he was able to meet with senators. He ignored you, and you continued to berate him by screaming, "He's a coward." You then claim his activism was funded by billionaire philanthropist George Soros. A school shooting survivor. Who's Laken Riley's family funded by then? Or are only Republicans allowed to contact their senators to pursue their activism? You then proceeded to share a poll from CBS showing that 76% approved of Donald Trump's speech, where 23% disapproved and thought you had some kind of gotcha moment. Aren't you involved with Doge? No wonder all that shit they're putting out is crap. You suck at reading numbers. What does it say under views of Trump's speech? It says, among speech watchers. Why didn't you show the rest of the slides, Marge? Would it have shown that only 20% of the people polled were Democrats? And let's face it, independents are just people who are too embarrassed to say that they voted for Donald Trump. You dumb little kumquat. And then, of course, there's Lauren Boebert. She retweeted a post from Donald Trump saying they wouldn't even stand for the mother of a girl who was murdered in cold blood by an illegal immigrant. Let that sink in. She adds her 2 cents by saying the radical left truly hates America. But isn't this you, Lauren?
Finally recognized for green converses. Thank you. Have a nice day.
We hope you take action on gun violence prevention.
Take a picture of that.
Isn't that the time you took a commemorative pin and photo of Maite Rodriguez, a victim from Uvalde school shooting, and threw it in the fucking trash? Or when you completely walked by and ignored other victims of school shootings?
Hey, there's a lot of survivors over there if you want to. Survivors of gun violence if you want to talk to them. Yeah. Survivors from Uvalde, Parkland. You don't really care?
You see, these aren't politicians propping up these victims and survivors. These are they themselves, victims and survivors, coming to their Congress people for help. And you ignored them. So spare me your righteousness. That is, unless you both really fucking have Alzheimer's, which in that case, rot in hell.
The behavior of Democrats last night was completely disgraceful and demonstrated how severely out of touch they are with the American public. It was the most shameful moment in the history of presidential addresses in that beautiful chamber. In what was supposed to be a unifying moment for our country, Democrat members of Congress instead screamed at the President of the United States, who was just overwhelmingly reelected by their constituents, walked out of the chamber, and worst of all, they disrespected the American people.
You know, KK Caroline, I'm starting to see why you got the job, right? You lacking in the upper lip department allows for the bullshit just to flow out of your mouth so fucking easy. Shut the fuck up. Everybody may suddenly have amnesia, but I don't.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you.
Oh, that destroyed your narrative too, that Democrats didn't give a shit about Laken Riley. Did you also forget this one?
Administration alone, the last one. The facts, check it out. Check it out. How did Congress Congress respond to that debt? Some fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you, I enjoy.
Oh, it's a good thing that Mike Johnson wasn't in charge then, huh? To sit there and lecture Marjorie Taylor Greene on decorum. Or have her dragged out of there by that ugly-ass white fur coat she wore in lieu of wearing a white hood. So fucking spare me. Ah, this is the most disgraceful thing in history. What, since last fucking year? And since you want to call someone like me evil, right? Who's not exactly pissed that the Democrats didn't stand up for that poor child that had fucking cancer and sitting there being used as a political pawn. Let's play a game called What's More Evil? Not clapping for a fucking political stunt? Or being pissed off that this administration cut funding for fucking cancer research? Cut funding for Medicaid that tens of thousands of children that have fucking cancer depend on? What's more evil, KK Caroline? And since there's so many illegal immigrants out there killing all these innocent white girls, why do you still have to use Lake and Riley? Have there not been more? So shut the fuck up. It's old. It's tired. And the only reason you have any fucking votes is because those fucking morons, all they can comprehend is political theater. That's easy. That's why Donald Trump has their fucking support, because that's all they can understand. Policy, actual policy, is a lot harder to fucking comprehend.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back. All right, before I go on to the next video, I just want to point out some things here. I got a video from AOC that comes on before this video you're watching here, and you should be able to find it on my Ordinary Talk link. And it's an hour speech. She made the video after the State of the Union speech. And she brought up some issues there that people are concerned with, and one of those things is Medicare, and how the NRCC chief had told the House Republicans that not to have any more town hall meetings because people are getting pissed. They want to know what Trump is going to do to Medicare because he said he was going to cut that and Social Security, and they're not. They're not happy with the answers they're getting from those people that are talking to them, okay, and it's getting people angry. And being how their majority in the House and the houses are so small, they're afraid that the midterms is going to wash that all away. If people are so fucking mad that they're not going to vote or they won't vote Republican, you know, they'll lose those seats. So, yeah, he's there. The chief, I don't know what his name is, but he told them no more town halls, in-person town hall meetings, okay? Stay the hell away from the public and shut your mouth, essentially. All right? And AOC had pointed out that during the State of the Union speech, Donald Trump mentioned Medicare, zero. Didn't say a fucking thing about Medicare at all in that long-winded speech that he gave. He rambled and everything, but he didn't say a thing about it. Okay, and so, you know, I think people, you know, you ought to watch that because, you know, she also talks about how they could fix, you know, the solvency of Social Security by lifting the payroll tax earnings limit from what is 176,000 to higher, or just way up high, and that would bring in more money to the Social Security Administration, and you would take care of the concern about not there the issue about there's not enough money in the Social Security system. That's all you'd have to do. So anyway, yeah, take a look at that. And hold on a second here as I flip back. All right, so let's go to the video. It's Dollemore Daily, and he wants to talk about how Trump wants to see Rachel Maddow and Nicole Wallace lose their jobs because all they do is trash the poor man, and he's getting sick of hearing it. So let's go to that here, and we'll talk on the other side there.
Remember, I think it was last week when from the White House press briefing podium, Caroline Leavitt announced that they were going to punish the Associated Press for not using the term Gulf of America as opposed to what it's called, Gulf of Mexico. A clear infringement of the First Amendment. They're punishing. It's not that they never were allowed into the Oval Office and then were suddenly allowed and then it went away. It's that they've always been there, a part of the White House press pool. And in order to justify this, then what they said was, we're going to handpick our own people that get to be in intimate spaces, as they called them, with the President of the United States. And we're learning now just who those groups are. Breitbart, for one, you're going to hear a question here. And it really goes to the chilling effect that Donald Trump and his administration and the policies that are having on the Constitution. The same Constitution that Republicans constantly bang on about. Again, I know I have this on my desk as a prop, but that's because Republicans use it as a prop. You'll see in committee hearings all the time, Republican congressmen pulling it out of their pocket. It's all frayed and tattered as though it's a well-worn Bible. Another thing they use as a prop. So yesterday in the Oval Office, Donald Trump, the end of the day, he's getting ready to jump on Air Force One and run to Mar-a-Lago to do some golfing or whatever he's going to do this weekend that's not work. And a reporter asked him a question. And this isn't the moment that I'm going to talk about here, but it really does give a fulsome picture of what is taking place. That a Breitbart reporter asks a softball, absolutely tease Donald Trump up for a question. Oh, how bad was it, sir, with tears in my eyes, that Democrats wouldn't applaud you at your speech? Oh, the horror. And Donald Trump praises him for the question. It really just does go to show that's the kind of journalist they want in the room. Those are the kind of questions they want for our Adderall-addled president. That his mind is just a furious, chaotic mess in there. Nothing's getting through. And then he goes off, as though all of these attacks on the First Amendment aren't enough. He goes on this anti-First Amendment rant about how Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow over at MSNBC should be forced to resign because they're not talented or he doesn't like what they say. It's remarkable. This is a president of the United States, 1/3 of our government, a co-equal branch run by Donald Trump, and he is from the Oval Office of the White House, demonstrated his disrespect for free speech and the principles in the Constitution. Watch this remarkable moment.
Absolutely. Just as a follow-up, the other night, we saw Democrats' behavior during your joint address to Congress. Yeah. Do you think it shows just how out of touch they are with the American people, especially given that 79%, according to a CBS poll, approved of your
I love this guy. Who are you with?
My name's Nick Gilbertson with Breitbart News.
I see. I really liked your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Sir, regarding the executive order...
The answer is just, Nick, and I know your name very well. Good job, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, the answer is I thought it was very embarrassing for the Democrats what happened the other night. And that's not said for any other reason other than it's obvious, it's fact. Even Even CNN fake news said that. They came out and they said it. And worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't know if it's not possible they pay her as much money as I hear, but certainly she's lost all credibility, both of them. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign about that young person who is suffering greatly. Thank you, Nick.
Will you extend...
The other goof in the room is Peter Doocy, the Wonder Baby, Nepo baby, son of Steve Doocy, the star of Fox and Friends over at Fox News. So, one, this really does just lay bare, I really like your question. And the question, how out of touch do you think the Democrats are? Fantastic. We're actually getting hard-hitting questions. We're getting to the truth about what the agenda of the Trump administration is from the Breitbart reporter. Breitbart, an abject anti-Semitic rag, just a racist bullshit paper, new online outlet. Steve Bannon used to run that, to give you an idea of what they've got going on. I'm not sure what involvement he still has. But this is a problem. And not for YouTube reasons or progressive commentator reasons. This is a problem because the rule of law should be sacrosanct. It should be lauded and heralded. It is the thing that binds a nation as a nation. It gives the power to the people. That no one is above the law. Equal protection under the law. Ringing a bell, Donald Trump. Does the 14th Amendment mean nothing? Well, no, it doesn't mean anything to Donald Trump. He wants to do away with birthright citizenship. With the stroke of a pen, he wants to do away with the constitutional amendment through executive action because he believes he is a king. He believes he is dictator on day one. His tweet when he said that he has every right to terminate all rules and regulations and articles up to and including the Constitution of the United States. And all of these people that continue to hold up this document and pretend to still abide by the oath, their solemn vow to protect and defend this Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, it's all a show. You can't be loyal to the point of cult membership to Donald Trump, a man who wants to terminate the document that you swore an oath to protect and defend. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, all about the First Amendment, having these idiots in there as the press pool to ask questions like, what's wrong with Democrats? Is ridiculous. But then for him as president, in the Oval Office, he's not a private citizen. He's not me saying, Rachel Maddow should be fired. It's the government. He is the government. He doesn't represent the government. He is. The president of the United States is. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can leave a comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily.
So, that's crazy. And the friggin' guy from Breitbart asking Trump, why the Democrats be? I'm like, that's not a question. That's just looking for him to offer an opinion, okay? And he's, well, I remember you. I like your question. Yeah, sure. Kiss the ass of the Republicans, right? Let me tell you some other mischievous shit there that Trump pulled here yesterday. He has sent out a fucking order, I guess, that from now on here, and this happened without the Social Security, without the Social Security office in Maine knowing about it, okay, they found out about this on the fucking news, okay? This is how quickly this happened, practically overnight. They want people who have newborns, okay, to physically show up at the fucking Social Security offices, okay, to take care of, you know, their registering their newborns to get a Social Security number, okay, which after he just cut how many thousands of people out of the Social Security offices, he cut a whole ton of people. Right now, if you want to see somebody at the Social Security office in Maine, you got to make an appointment, okay, because they don't have enough people to handle a mountain of folks showing up there, okay. So you got to, it's like, you know, you got to put your foot in the door like going to a restaurant. And this is not by any definition of what a small government should look like, okay, by creating lines that don't necessarily have to be. But the fact that he did this and then the next day or just a few days after decided, okay, now people have to bring their babies there to have them registered, okay, as citizens, all right, it's going to cause tremendous bullshit. And there was so much to be said about that. Let me pull up a comment here. Here's one here. This is on Reddit because they have a subreddit there for the state of Maine. Person going by the name Lemon Chicken, okay, said, as a person who's going to give birth in 2 months and has been sick for a month and kind of feels like crawling into a hole and never emerging, just weary, this really wants me to give up. What the fuck? Does anyone know if the baby needs to be there too? I can probably get a grandparent to watch the baby, but both parents have to be there? Jesus fucking Christ. And then this other person wrote, also having a baby in a few months, and I'm fucking livid. The nearest Social Security office is over an hour away, and already having a toddler makes it feel like punishment for families. Fuck this president. Another person wrote, it will also hurt undocumented people who won't get a Social Security number for their babies and people who are afraid of the government, even if they are documented. So Trump supporters will love that. They will take a small pain to give the people they hate a large pain and quote-unquote get rid of brown people. Trump's also taking revenge on Boston for not joining the immigrant purge. The Small Business Administration is closing its Boston office. Another one wrote, another reason for Maine to fight back, get this wannabe dictator towed away from my state, making parents unnecessarily travel to a Social Security office while they have a vulnerable newborn at home because he's in his feelings that a woman didn't bend over backwards to choke on his gigantic feudal ego. Full stop. Stay the fuck away from Maine families, you overinflated apricot leaf blower who does nothing but bluster whatever Russia tells you to. Maine has no king. And another one here says, Trump is a sociopathic narcissist bully and is trying to poison the Maine people against our own governor, who has been one of the few politicians who doesn't have her nose up his ass. Not going to fucking work. Dirigo strong. So yeah, a lot of messages here. It goes on and on and on here, I just think that it's like I said, after what Mills said to him there, and in front of the cameras, this is an ongoing feud between our governor and numbnuts here in the White House, and like I said. With the worry that Canada's going to cut off electricity to the country, and they're going to raise a 25% increase on tax on electricity starting Monday. Okay, a lot of people in Maine are not going to be so happy with Trump, and like I said, this is going to be detrimental to the primaries. I mean, if the Republicans are hoping to maintain their majorities, they're going to have a hell of a time doing that now, okay? Because, look, his approval numbers are lower now than they've ever been. All right, and that only means now even Republicans hate him, because they wouldn't be where they are now unless you have Republicans also hating him. Okay, so he's losing his base. He's losing MAGA, some people in MAGA, okay? But it's not working. You know, the shit that he's doing, it's not working. And, you know, he might take certain personal pride over getting things through, but at the end, you know, what does he really care about? You know, he's not going to have doesn't have to worry about running for president again unless they find some way for him to do it. But he's in there to just scorched earth policy, basically, is what he's doing. And he doesn't want people to look too much into it. Like I said, they're shutting down any more town halls. They don't want people knowing what's going on. And that's really sad how how we look at this situation in our country brewing here. And you know, I don't know. It's really frustrating when you sit here and you find out this guy's not on your side. Okay, he's out there actively trying to disrupt the lives of your average citizen out there who's out there making an honest living, paying their taxes, okay, trying to stay within the law. And this guy comes out of nowhere and, you know, with a fucking sword is out there chopping people's fucking cords to their safety nets and stuff. You know, that's what he's doing. Because in order to pay for this he's got to, when he's trying to raise or renew the tax breaks that he implemented when he was president the first time, he's going to have to come up with all kinds of fucking money to pay for that. And he's talking about cutting over $800 billion out of Medicare. Now, when you're talking numbers that big, in that kind of ballpark, you know that means the cuts are going to come across the political spectrum, which means everybody's going to get hit in some fucking way. That means Republicans as well as Democrats. So MAGA out there, if you thought that, you know, when they were talking about cuts to Medicare, it was only going to affect the blue states, you're wrong. Okay? You're absolutely fucking 100% wrong. It's going to affect everybody. All right? Your grandparents, your kids, everybody that depends on it. Social Security, the fucking same thing. They're going to look at cutting that. And again, across the political spectrum. You people, you voted for this guy thinking you were going to, you know, get favors from him. You're not going to get a favor from this guy. The only people that are looking for favors here are the people at the top. But I don't think they're really seeing that having Trump back as president so far has been very beneficial for them, because he's hitting businesses in this country big time. This tariff war is going to hurt them. All right. The fact that other countries don't want to trade with us anymore now, that's gonna affect the bottom lines. So at the end, they'll get their tax break maybe, but at what cost? Okay? At what fucking cost? Because they're not going to really enjoy having that extra money, because fuck, I mean, they're not making any money. They're going to need it. So it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's really ridiculous how people reasoned through mental gymnastics that Trump was the better of the two candidates that were running for president. It really is. When we could have avoided all of this bullshit red tape and all this crap about cutting people off, we could have avoided all of that if we just voted the other way. That election right there really showed us how important elections are, and that they have consequences. And we ran right headlong into a house that was on fire. Knowing that it was on fire, we went right into it, okay? And now we're all crying that we did it. Well, you got to listen to people better and stop believing your own bullshit, okay? People going around in MAGA believing their own lies, listening to their own propaganda. You guys are idiots when you do that, okay? You need to put that fucking mentality away. That's the way kids think. You're an adult. Think different. Do better. Okay? Be more reasonable. Be more mature. Be more responsible. Okay? That's what you have to do when you're an adult. You can't approach life with blinders on and think that everything's going to go your way if you just follow the leader. All right? It doesn't work that way. Okay? This maybe in Russia it probably does, because if you think differently, you probably find yourself falling out of a fucking 70th floor window or something. Okay? But over here, people are not discouraged for having critical thoughts, to think, to evaluate what someone says as either truthful or not. Okay? No one tells you you must think everything that he says is true. You don't know. There's nobody that's got to tell you that. Okay? And you don't have to listen to that. If what somebody's saying to you doesn't sound right, then it probably isn't right. But if you're ignoring your better instincts just because you want to be a party loyalist, okay, then you're stupid. You're a person that really is in this for the wrong reasons. You're involved in politics in the wrong way. Okay, because if you're looking at this as a way of waging war against your opposition, okay, just remember that for every blow you strike, 2 blows comes back at you, because you can't affect the other side without affecting yourself. All right? Because the government isn't a scalpel. It's a fucking sledgehammer. And when you want them to do something, what happens is you get this broad fucking response that affects everybody. It doesn't just pick and choose, oh, this one, oh, no, not that one because he's red. No, it doesn't work that way. When the government enacts tax policy or enacts cuts and all that, it's across the fucking board. Everybody gets hit. And if you think, oh, well, I can magically avoid that, you're wrong. Okay, you're just living in a dream world if you really believe that shit. So, that's why a guy like Trump is somebody this country does not need. All right, we don't have the room in our lives to put up with the fucking bullshit that comes down from him. We got our own lives to live. We got our own responsibilities to deal with. We got bills to pay. We got kids to raise. We got mouths to feed. We don't have the time to go to bed worrying whether tomorrow I still have a job or not, or whether, some right that I once had has been taken away because some asshole thought that, oh, I'm going to just do this to make your life more miserable. We can't fight City Hall and try to live our lives at the same time. Okay, we have to at some point figure out which is more important. Okay, do you want City Hall to run rampant all over your fucking life, so that way you can't do your fucking job and live your life? No. So this is the reason why Trump shouldn't even be doing what he's doing, because he's in it for himself. He's in it to get back at all of us, okay, for all the shit we put him through in the last 4 years, which was all justified, because he broke laws, he committed crimes, okay? You can't expect that, oh, we're not going to do anything because you're Donald Trump. No. He broke the law, and he was going to trial for these things. Okay, so now he's going after us. All right. It's not our fault that, he's a felon now. It's not our fault that he raped a woman. It's not our fault that he stole money and lied about tax stuff. Okay, it's not our fault. It's his fault. If any one of us did it, do you think the rest of the country would say, oh no, leave him alone? No, they wouldn't. Okay? So I think we can all agree that if you commit a crime in this country, you should pay for it. and if you don't want to pay for it, then don't do the crime. It's just like that, going back to that lady with the stupid receipt. She shows up at the restaurant. If she didn't want to be around Mexicans, why did she go eat there? No, she puts herself there for the purpose of doing exactly what she did. Just to get her little fucking, her narcissistic bullshit in play, just like Donald Trump, okay? She goes in there to do that, thinking, yeah, I got one on them, okay? Taking it out on them. What the fuck did they do to her? Okay? Not a goddamn thing. Not a fucking thing. But like Donald Trump, that's what she's all about. Getting her digs in. So that's why I say, Trump really is he's a blight on our American history. in future history is not going to look back at these times with any degree of positivity. Okay, they're going to say that a lot of bad things came of this period in our country's history that took a long time to correct, if we're still around. But that's all that Trump is going to give to the American history books in our country, is a low point in what America ultimately became, and it will be struggling to dig itself out of in the days to come. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for health issues, and be neighborly and be helpful to people in your community, because we're all going to need that as we go through these years. So I will talk to you all later. Take care.